Proudly brought to you in low quality and low definition. You're listening to Bad Guy Labs. I'm Jason Emerson.
I'm Cole Koenig.
So the Olympics are over now, and I got a little more enjoyment out of them than I thought I was going to. Mostly because you and Emily sort of made me watch some, and still though, I've never been a giant sports fan. Unless it's something weird, like maybe the X Games or like some sort of paintball competition or, zip lining while you're on fire, something like that. That's what I'm into.
Something that's starting to blur the line of sport and dicking around.
And I might be a bad guy here, but I really sort of am into like the ancient Roman sports style where, it's wrong to kill people, but at the same time, I really dig the sort of feel of like pugilism and combat and mixing in weird crazy crap.
What's the weird crazy crap that you're imagining?
Well, just one of many things I was thinking for a long time now. Like football season is coming up. I've never been a giant football fan, but I've watched, some football games, and I think it would be far more interesting if they had the game going and at the same time released a bull onto the field, and everybody had to just play around it. Like, I would watch every football game they put on TV. I would go to as many live bull football games as possible.
They could throw out a few more animals, or different animals,
Sure, elephants, or, a squatch.
A squatch. A squatch would be good.
Do some squatching. I don't know, or lots of rabbits. Like 10,000 rabbits. Or what if you were to give each coach?
You're gonna get peated down your, breathing down your throat if you start getting some herbivores that aren't well defended.
Oh shit, we better shut the show down.
Fuck, those guys are on the case.
What if you gave each coach a paintball gun with like 5 shots in it, and they could use them at any time during the game for any reason? I would love that shit. Or one of those cannons that shot like tennis balls, like those air cannons.
Yeah.
And they're just sitting there like in a big turret holding the two, like the double handles. And they're just sort of swiveling, like those swivel guns from the Millennium Falcon. That would be far more amusing to me. Or if they put trap doors in the field, and they just sort of open them randomly, and you never knew where they were.
Trap doors would be good. Water hazards.
Yeah, maybe some walls. I don't know, if you really want to get wacky with it, like a couple of apex predators, like a lion or something, or I don't know, a bear that's just about to go into hibernation for, just to make it sort of interesting.
Or a bear that just came out of hibernation.
Yeah, like a groggy bear. Like, we don't want to go crazy here, like a fully aggressive, aroused bear.
Aroused in whatever sense of the word you would like to imagine. It's a different kind of game.
And like, what if you, like different sorts of devices, like you give like the football players, like, big hunks of chain or some battle ropes, or not full on like clubs, but also not Nerf sticks, but something sort of in the middle that's sort of annoying when you get hit by it, but not completely damaging. Stuff like that. Like, I don't know, and I could totally see myself as an ancient Roman, like going to the games, munching on my piece of bread, drinking my wine or whatever, and like just somebody's getting like swinging some chains over his head, and he's like kicking the ass of a bunch of other people in the arena. Like, I would be lying if I said I wouldn't find that interesting and entertaining.
Oh yeah, I mean, people clearly did. There's there's plenty of evidence.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
So, and it's not like I even watch like boxing or MMA or anything on a regular basis, although I do think it's interesting. But this sort of wacky crap, I don't understand. I think this would be a multi-billion-dollar industry, and everything is sort of like geared toward vanilla sports, from the Olympics to football to baseball. Jesus, baseball, like 95% of the time is like dead time, like where they're sort of scratching their balls or something.
Yeah, I totally never fucking understood baseball. They had this program when I was in high school where they would, based on how good your grades were, they would give you free baseball tickets to the local pro team. And I only went because I was 16 and I wanted to get the fuck out of the house. But it's like the most goddamn boring time of my life. And, in the interest of just disclosure, I am a somewhat slight sports fan. And this baseball, can't fucking do it. That's an endurance trial. That is not enjoyment for me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised. Although a lot of people drink a lot to watch sports, and and I fancy a good drink or several myself, and I totally get why it sort of numbs your, like, if you're easily stirred inside, drink a few drinks and then you can sort of sit through anything. And I suspect that's a big part of it. I don't know. Why do people like baseball? I mean, I'm not going to sit here and argue from my own ignorance. Maybe it's like art that I don't like, but it's still valid to somebody. All I'm saying is...
Oh, yeah, I'm never going to vote to abolish baseball.
Yeah, but if you were to release a bull onto the field and the people still had to play the game and not evacuate...
It could almost be better at baseball than football.
Yeah.
Because there's no, the formations, there's fewer people on the field. That could be wackier.
That could be, Or what if in baseball, like, you put more than one ball into play? Let's mix this shit up a little bit.
Or you had, like, birds of prey that were trained to snatch baseballs out of the air. That could be awesome.
Yeah, so, just my 2 cents. All I'm talking about here is how I think sports would be more interesting to me. Now, maybe I'm just completely off my rocker and there's nobody else out there anywhere that thinks any of this is even remotely interesting and would just ruin sports. I suspect there's a few of you out there that are right in line with me on this.
I think even mainstream sports fans are, and they probably just don't want to admit it. And I guess what I'm thinking of here is the fact that, when everybody thinks of, like, ancient Rome and the sports that they were into, everybody thinks of the arena of gladiatorial combat. And people don't talk about the circus where they did the chariot races. And, people just don't think about that because they're like, it's just horse racing, fuck that. To me, the clearest modern incarnation of that is NASCAR. And anything I've ever seen of that is it looks boring as fuck, and it's always, the tracks are in places that are hot as shit. And the only reason to watch it is for when there's, like, carnage on a massive scale. Excuse me. But you know what I mean? When just, like, there's, like, 12 cars just they're totally fucked.
Yeah.
And to me, it's the same thing. I don't know if ancient Romans watched, chariot races to see if they're like, let's see if these fuckers flip over. I don't know if they did that. But I think that is a big reason why these people watch NASCAR. And that's probably all for whatever reason, we can handle right now. Is we're like, we can accept that, people driving at 200 miles an hour in circles will crash sometimes. That's just a part of the game. But, sticking swords in people's hands, you're going too far, sir.
Oh.
That is one step too far.
I wish you a good day.
Maybe it would even just be more interesting with football if they just were allowed to put spikes on their bodies.
I said good day! Spikes on their bodies would be good, yeah.
Like on shoulder pads or backs of their shoes or on top of their helmet. Like they're German soldiers from 1914.
We live in the electrical age. We could replace the spikes with painful, like, cattle prod-like implements that don't impale you.
That's true.
I mean, the sky's the limit here, people. Like, we could really come up with some great sporting activities.
You could even electrically charge the ball. So sometimes when somebody's about to catch it or has caught it or it's being handed off, it shock the fuck out of them.
Yeah, you could program it to shock, like, under certain play conditions. Like, like say you do something like a little sleazy, like maybe the shock happens then. Or maybe it's random, or maybe Maybe the coaches all get buttons and they get 5 presses during the game for any reason, along with their 5 paintball rounds.
There you go.
I personally have sort of been a secret lover of demolition derbies over the years for this exact reason.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of sort of unsavory types that go to those, but there's a lot of people like me, like just regular Joes who sort of, I consider myself to be somewhat refined, somewhat. I'm going to emphasize that word.
Fair enough.
I like to wear shoes and a shirt, and when I go out in public, I like to shower on a regular basis and things like that. And there's a lot of other people there that are like that. So I don't want to disparage the regular folk out there who are like me and who just enjoy something that's not really popular right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I love a good demolition derby. I've been to quite a few of them over the years. I haven't been to one lately, but I think I might go again.
I've not been to a demolition derby. I've been to the world's largest machine gun shoot.
Now, yes, another example of a fun, sort of oddball activity that's not mainstream, sort of not only uninteresting to some people, but downright unpopular and disparaged.
Yeah, you can buy however many rounds you want and just shoot at cars and boats and stuff with chain guns, whatever you want.
Yeah, I've noticed in Vegas. I've been to Vegas a couple different times for conferences, and I've noticed on the airport walls and in like the hotel lobbies, there's like and all over the city really, there's advertisements for like places you can go to like rent machine guns, and for like $100 or something, they'll give you like a bunch of different machine guns, and you can just go to work, just go to work on those things.
It's not something you'd think would be available for rental generally, but that's interesting.
Yeah, apparently they have the the proper like paperwork in order, and they jump through the right hoops where. Because I know that you can't just regularly own a machine gun unless you have a special permit that is almost impossible to get. Like back in 1933, I think it was, the government like made it so that you couldn't just buy machine guns. You had to get some kind of stamp, and only like out of the hundreds of millions of Americans, only like a few thousand have this permission. So you have to like get that, and then but apparently these rental shops have this, and apparently, like, if you're in their shop, you sort of fall under their stamp and can handle these things. And it's, but it sounds amazing. I didn't do it because I didn't have time.
Yeah.
And
it's expensive as fuck, I've heard, too. I mean, I remember from the one I went to, they charge you by the round. And when it's a machine gun, that shit'll stack up if you want to shoot something for more than 3 seconds.
These places in Vegas were sort of the established fee, and then like they would give you like so many rounds, enough to really have fun with it. I think they give you, for this price, they'd let you try like 5 different guns, and like you could mess with them a bit and like shoot them enough so you got like satisfied. It wasn't just like 3 shots or something. It was it was like a good long burst or a good long series of short bursts. So what were you like spectating at the machine gun shoot?
Yeah, it was a friend of mine that was really into guns, wanted to sell one of his, and he talked me into going, and I was like, all right, I don't give a shit about guns, but it sounds like it'd be interesting. And they just had an area sort of cordoned off where they had a variety of machine guns, and each one was like, there was a couple different things like out in the field that you could shoot at, and each like gun station was like, here's the gun, and here's how much it costs per round to shoot this. So if you wanted to spend like $20,000 on rounds, you could just sit there for as long as it took you to shoot 20,000 rounds.
That's interesting. Now, if they could somehow combine this with demolition derbies, somehow, I don't know, some sort of Mad Max style, like post-apocalyptic sport. Like, almost coming full circle back to Rome.
It's some sort of dinosaur robot.
Funny how everything sort of, is circular and comes back around again if you give it enough time. We're sort of pretending we're in like an enlightened ethical period right now, but you just wait.
Just wait for that shit to start.
It'll come back around.
Just wait till they start the Hunger Games.
Yeah. I dug the concept of that. And again, it's like, it's wrong to like encourage the killing of people. But if we're going to be honest, and that's what I'm going to do, we all have an animal inside of us, and we can try to pretend it's not there, but like I for one recognize it, and this doesn't mean that I'm just going to do whatever I want willy-nilly, but I do know that I have these cravings, such as for pugilism. And some people look down on that, and I just disagree. Like I think it's satisfying on some level, and I'm not gonna try to suppress it, pretend to be something I'm not, ignore something that exists, however you want to term it. And enjoying the Hunger Games is one of those things. Like not only the movie, but just the concept, like the idea of it, like sort of putting myself in there, sort of imagining real Hunger Games, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I just feel like I'm being more honest about it, and like being honest in like liking like Roman spectator games and things. Like even if people are being stabbed and stuff, like I just like the idea of it. Like I like the intensity,
Mm-hmm.
So when I watched the Hunger Games, for me, I was enjoying it on many different levels.
Apparently. That's quite all right. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't know if I identify as strongly about the managing the animal urges, but I definitely understand what you mean about, just recognizing when something is palatable in a more general sense.
Yeah.
Then you're quote unquote supposed to find it.
Yeah, like there's nothing I can do to not want what I want, but I can behave a certain way, and that's what we do. Some people out there are like really cunty about it, and they're like, not only should you not behave this way, but you're committing thought crime, and that's sort of where you're losing me, and you're just being a big douchebag about it. Like the idea that like I'm wrong for thinking thoughts. Like,
or acknowledging impulses.
Yeah, like we have them. Like it's like it's so antithetical to free thought, which I find beautiful. That this is something that I feel pretty strongly about. And if you think like it's wrong to acknowledge these feelings and talk about them or admit to feeling them, even if you behave well in society, then just fuck right off. So, what did you think about the Hunger Games?
I don't know. I guess it's funny. I paused then, and I just realized that could come across as like, well, actually, I have something very serious to say about the Hunger Games. I don't. You know what? It's funny. I actually tried reading the books, and I couldn't get into it, but I did enjoy the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I did enjoy the movie quite a bit.
Well, it was faster than reading a book.
Well, yeah, but that usually doesn't slow me down.
Okay. And there was, action sequences.
It just translated differently to the screen than the way it read. It's kind of like it's not too often where you read a book or people read a book and then the movie gets made and you end up saying, oh man, the movie was actually a lot better than the book. That doesn't happen too often.
Yeah.
From my 2 chapters that I read of the Hunger Games, the movie was better than the book.
Mm.
Like that's definitely happened. I mean, again recently. Shit, I can't remember what it was. Anyway, no reason to dwell on that.
Well, there's always exceptions. So.
Oh, of course. The thing though that I thought of when I was talking to my wife about it is what if in this future world we get some sort of one of the because you were talking about things are circular, we sort of end up revisiting our past as a species, so it's not a surprise if we would bring back some sort of terrible form of combat in which people are forced to murder each other, like the Hunger Games. But what if we brought things back from other eras, like from our own era, that in tandem or along, in parallel with the Hunger Games, they also forced the districts of this world to participate in the special Hunger Games. And for those that are listening that have never encountered this idea before, it's exactly what you think it is. So, so from every district, you would get the two people that are chosen at each, whatever the hell they call it, at each event where they choose the people for the Hunger Games. And they would also choose from a separate pool of children that were retarded.
You know,
we'll just be honest.
This is the, this is the conclusion that sort of, I guess you could reach from this is, if we're going to have Special Olympics, if we're gonna, and we know that there are retarded people in the world, or special, I guess, if that's what you want to call it.
Yeah. They would be the Special Hunger Games.
Yeah, there would be Special Hunger Games, and I don't know, obviously the Hunger Games is about, flash and sort of pizzazz and sort of fantasy elements, and, but I do enjoy this little trip we take regularly of sort of visiting, like, the realities of life onto these fantasies.
Well, it's fun because it's the absurdities of reality and the realities of absurdity.
So, you have the Special Hunger Games, which, you send in these two contestants from each district, and I can only imagine what kind of shit would go down.
Well, see, my first...
No pun intended.
The first place my brain goes is how would this play itself out? Because, in the movies, they try to be very realistic and say, oh, well, most of you will die from exposure, or from eating shit that's poisonous, or, something in your environment will kill you, another contestant won't kill you. But I wonder what happens in the Special Hunger Games. Like, does everybody die from weapons malfunction? Or do most people die because they don't know how to use the weapons that are in the game? Or they eat rotten food? Or... I'm just wondering how it would play out differently.
I think,
and in this world, because you saw the movie, right?
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
I was there sitting next to you.
Yeah. Okay. Fuck. That's
Jesus
right.
Christ.
That's right. They show how everybody's watching it, like it's the television spectacle of the year, and I'm wondering if if the Hunger Games, like the Olympics in our world, gets the high ratings, and also like the Special Olympics, not quite as many people watch the Special Hunger Games, or if it'd be reverse. Like people are that much more, hungry for a program where 24 retarded people compete to be the and what would it be like to be the last retarded person standing in the Hunger Games? Like, are you proud of yourself? Are you not sure what happened? Like, do they execute you anyways because they're like, Jesus, that's one dangerous retarded kid. Like,
just standing there, sort of spinning in circles. Like, you didn't kill anybody. Like, every one of them died by accidental death.
Or, yeah, there you go. You're the most high-functioning person there because you didn't kill yourself.
Like all 23 other contestants just fell off a cliff before you did. And, like, you're about to fall off one, too, but the people come in and save you because you're the winner.
Hey, you won. What?
Like, if we were going to go down the list of reasons for the contestants to die... I'm going to say, like, stabbing is, like, the lowest on the list from another contestant. I'm going to say, number one, you died because you fell off a cliff because you spun around too many times next to it and got dizzy. Number two, like, exposure because, you sort of froze to death in the woods. Number three, overconsumption of shirt buttons and pennies.
That's, to be fair though, that's a regular real world hazard.
Number five, you accidentally stuck like a fork into an electrical outlet.
Somewhere you found the electrical outlet in the woods in this in this arena.
So, interesting concept.
Number 6, you pointed your crossbow the wrong way.
Yeah. Number 7, you bled to death out of your hands because you grabbed the wrong end of the sword. You tried to beat somebody else to death using the pommel.
We could go on. But...
This could be, this parody idea is actually starting to take some shape. Maybe some sort of. It's too bad there isn't, a way to create like like you could make a comic book or some sort of cartoon of this, but I don't have the know-how to do it. But it's too bad because I would totally watch that shit. Special Hunger Games.
I would animate it if I had any artistic ability whatsoever.
Yeah. I don't know. I just I don't see if you're gonna hate on us for this joke, by the way, I think you know my policy by now.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you've gotten this deep in the series so far,
Yeah.
like just fuck off, like
Yeah,
tough shit.
You either have finally reached your limit, or you just enjoy the feeling of seething hate.
Right? Yeah, like if you really want to get into the subtle science of retard jokes, be my guest. I'm not going to engage you on that. Like, fuck off.
Yeah.
Just seriously, fuck off.
Yeah.
Like, that's like having a conversation about, Roman gladiatorial games were brutal and wrong, and I'm like, I would just be like, I'm not having this conversation with you, because that's kind of like saying, I don't know. To me, that's like saying murdering people is wrong. Well, yeah, of course it's wrong, but how many movies have you watched where someone got fucking murdered? Like,
And loved it.
yeah, and you loved every minute of it. You own it. The DVD is on your bookshelf at home. Like,
I personally have a strong love for and it's probably campy now, and as a kid though, I loved The Running Man with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I don't even remember, was Jesse Ventura in that and a bunch of other people?
I know he wasn't the only famous person in it, or like action hero in it. I think there were other people.
Yeah, like I don't remember anymore, and Richard Dawson of Family Feud fame. I love that guy. He's such a great game show host in the Family Feud or in futuristic like horror. Like he's got charisma. He had that great tagline. Who loves you and who do you love? Loved that.
True.
And in the real life Family Feud, like I don't know if you watched a lot of Dawson era Family Feud, but I did.
Holy
shit!
What era are we talking about?
I'm gonna say like 70s into early 80s. I think he ended his run around like 83 or something.
I don't know if I would have caught those. I was the victim of a lot of daytime TV syndication, but I don't know if I got exposed to that.
I remember they used to run the Family Feud at night too, and I was watching it, and I just remember Richard Dawson. I loved Richard Dawson, and he would fucking kiss every woman on the show.
That was definitely before my time, because I saw whoever was on it after that. Because when I saw videos of that, I was like, holy shit, this is fucking goofy. Like, I can't believe this.
Just, oh my god, the amount of herpes. Holy shit. Like, if he never got herpes on his mouth, like, wow, the risk factor he was going through every time. And also the women, like, all right, I'll do it, I guess. Like, kissing this guy that's kissed literally 10,000 other women for the last several months.
It shows you something's fucked up in the world when, like, everybody shits themselves because Janet Jackson's tit comes out at the Super Bowl, but a game show host can just kiss every woman he meets full on the mouth season after season.
Yeah.
Like,
the 70s. I mean, I know it was a different time.
It was a golden age. It was the golden rod age, if you see some interiors from that era.
Yeah. Just the sort of freewheeling, sort of free love kind of thing that carried over from the 60s, I guess. Like, what a time. I just think back on that and, like, watch these old reruns on YouTube and shit once in a while, and I just, I'm almost tempted to fall into that old trap we've talked about of the good old days.
The good old days, yeah.
Just, you're a game show host and you can just like, with every chick on the game show. She's happy to do it. I wonder.
Well, maybe.
I wonder. Many of them looked happy to do it. I wonder about like the ones that sort of got roped into the groupthink of it, where they didn't want to do it, but like they don't want to be the one holdout that doesn't kiss Richard Dawson, so they do it. But just the idea that even that happens, like that's the era you live in where you're not very comfortable with something, but it's just so like run of the mill, like mainstream that you. Like, it's just not a big issue for you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, I don't really want to kiss this guy, but
yeah,
fuck it. Like, everybody's doing it. And, like, I guess. Like, it's not like, absolutely no. Like, that's the era. Nowadays, you'd get that, and they don't even do it anymore. Like, it's just different era.
Well, true.
But I loved him in The Running Man. I loved all the killing that happened, the interesting ways.
That's right. I was trying to figure out how we got to Family Feud hosts.
A little tangent. The different interesting ways all the killing happened, and I love action hero shit, and I love that cheesy, predictable, campy, sort of, Schwarzeneggerian, is that a word?
It is now.
Kind of style of, and granted, he's made some pieces of shit movies, like Last Action Hero, etc. But, just sort of that, and maybe it's just because like that was like, I was a youngster and I was into that shit. Love the Terminator. Like when he like just blows away the guy in the gun shop after asking for a phased plasma rifle and a 40-watt range. Like when he appears and he's walking like through the observatory parking lot at the beginning, he's naked, and and those punks are there. And by the way, if you guys didn't notice, that's one of Bill Paxton's first movie roles. He was one of the punks.
Oh yeah,
pretty funny. And he just like Schwarzenegger just reaches like he punches the guy in the stomach so hard that he penetrates it, reaches up into his chest cavity and stops his heart. Like. It's horrible. It's gruesome, but I love that shot. I love that scene. I love the just rawness behind it. It doesn't mean I'm gonna go do it, but I'm gonna be totally honest. That shit just turns me the fuck on.
Hey, they gave Gladiator an Oscar.
Yeah,
it was the best picture in 2000.
And I make no apologies for what turns me on. And of course, this leads me to another thought from something you said before.
Okay.
The real full circle would be the special Gladiator games.
I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. I mean, I don't know if we have evidence for it happening, back in... Well, that's another thing. I almost said back in the day, and it's cool to say back in the day, but it's one of those phrases that gets on my nerves. But that's a tangent.
I know what I mean, though.
Because it's like it's become the catch-all reference to anything that happened more than last week. I know back in the day when the Arabs invaded Spain, like oh, you mean 1400 years ago?
Yeah,
like is being used the same as back in the day when my parents were born. Like that's why it's a phrase that annoys me because it's like back in the day. But anyways, I don't know if we have any evidence for the Roman era having special gladiatorial combat, but wouldn't surprise me if they did.
They sort of, make it safer. They give all the, special gladiators like instead of a sword, they give them, like a balsa wood stick, and they just sort of, tell them to have at it and have some fun. There's celebrity Romans there sort of encouraging them, and they're doing fundraising. And it's the whole thing.
Well, yeah, it depends how they want to do it, because you could either have the special gladiators fighting each other, or basically have like a mess of special gladiators and then have two real gladiators, and whoever has the higher body count the quickest wins.
This sort of makes me think of the word special, like in general. Like, it's funny how it can mean two things. Like, you can be like a special Olympian,
yeah,
or you can be in like special ops, and nobody thinks the special ops guys are anything other than amazing killing machines.
The Onion riffed on this. Did you ever see this article?
No.
Yeah,
invented the wheel.
Back when Well, no. It's different than what it's sort of going another few feet deeper down the rabbit hole than we just went with it.
Mm.
Is I remember it was a couple years after we went to Iraq, and and the headline was something like, Bush authorizes the deployment of very special forces to the Middle East, and it showed like their short C-130s and stuff like that.
Jesus Christ!
These tiny bodied C-140s with normal wings and shit.
Oh, the old short bus reference. I forgot about that.
Oh, I loved it.
Well, so they were the very special ops. That's
because they're already special forces. They're
right.
Special ops, so they were very special.
Right. That's the distinction you have to make. If that's all you do is essentially they're still calling them special. They're just adding another word.
Yeah.
It's like double special. So one special means regular, and more than one special means special, as in Special Olympics. I got it.
Yeah.
I was gonna go the other way if you hadn't told me that, and sort of assumed that special ops guys were like the high end, like ultra trained people. So then the equivalent of the very special ops in my mind would have just been ops.
Right.
Send in the ops team.
Well, it's a funny bit of linguistic drift that must only be a few decades old, because I bet you 50 years ago, if you'd gotten something in the mail from a store you'd like to shop at that was like, we have a special offer for you, you'd be like, oh, awesome, I wonder what it is. And nowadays, if you get something in the mail from a store you shop at that's like, we have a special offer for you, you're like, oh, fuck. What is this? It's somehow going to be, here's a special offer. Use this card when you shop here, and we will charge you $1 for it.
Yeah.
Somehow they're getting more money for your special offer.
Sort of this is sort of how marketing can run amok over time. Everything runs amok over time, really, like in my opinion.
Okay.
And by everything, I don't mean everything literal douches. So just back the fuck off. You hate emails. You can start out, with it's sort of the early days of marketing where they hadn't really figured out all the scams in it yet.
Yeah.
And stores were sort of like more genuine about what they said. And then over time,
Well, they tried a more direct route.
Yes.
Like, you want to buy this car because it is reliable. Its parts will only, it'll take 10 years for them to wear out.
It's sort of like how bureaucracy sort of runs amok more over time. You can look at a lot of examples of this, and there are ups and downs through history, because I don't want to make people think like it's the good old days where things were better, because it's not true, but there are like ups and downs.
There were definitely downsides to living in the 40s.
Yeah. But like they didn't have the rampant sleazeball marketing that they do today in many ways. They had sleazeball marketing, but it was a different kind of sleazeball marketing that was, like you said, more direct.
Yeah.
And now they've sort of gone the route of like what Bill Hicks said in one of his specials before he died, where, if you're a marketing guy, just kill yourself. And like, he said about them like, oh, Bill's smart. He's going for that anti-marketing dollar. That's
Nice.
where it's gone today. So.
Well, it just seems like back then. Well, I think I've gotten you off track, but I'll just say this.
Fuck cares.